more often now. This ain't the only channel I got. Yeah, but we got to talk about Ja Rule on the Breakfast Club. My damn nose itch. But we got to talk about Ja Rule on the Breakfast Club. This is my first time showing my face on here. You know, this ain't the only channel I got. I be working on my other channels too. Yeah, this me was talking shit about Ja Rule, and y'all niggas felt some type of way about me talking about Ja Rule. But we finna get into it though. Damn, I spelled this nigga name wrong though. Fuck. I'ma just do it like this. Yeah, what the fuck?
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Play you for those ultras?
I'm
Well, we're
all going.
kind of high level.
Fascinating.
Celebratory story though.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So talk about the first time you met Irv and how that was and why you didn't sign the TVT at the time.
Well, I did actually sign a team. So I'll tell the story a little bit.
Mhm.
So my man Chris Black, big shout out to my brother Black. You know, we was hustling on 25th and Hollis, you know, doing what young, hungry black men do in the hood.
Selling
you know,
drugs.
selling some drugs, you know.
Mhm.
And he used to go to the studio with Irv and Mike Geronimo.
Mhm.
He used to come back to the block, was mixtapes. Like it wasn't mixtapes at the time. It was just like little tapes
Yep.
that they was making, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, I want to go rhyme with Irv and Mike Geronimo at the time. He was DJ Irv.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, I want to go rap with them too. You know, because we had like a little group kind of thing we was kind of doing, but not really. I was kind of like more or less the rapper out of the crew.
Mhm.
Me and my other homeboy. And so when I said that to Black, he was like, yo, I'll bring you up there. So he brought me up there, and that's when I met Irv.
Look at him begging, nigga. You begging these niggas to, nigga. You begging, nigga. Stop, nigga. This nigga on here begging, talking about he want to go with Irv and them, nigga. Like, why you beg? Why you couldn't do your own shit? Start your own shit.
And Irv was like, yeah. He think he nice. He's like, all right, go ahead, get in the booth. Let me see what you do.
Mhm.
And for me,
This nigga's
that was
this nigga's a whole clown, man.
okay. This is my make it or break it moment. Like this is my moment. Like this dude right here is the guy that's helping motherfuckers get record deals in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
So I didn't leave the booth. I wouldn't leave the booth. I just rhyme after rhyme after rhyme and kept going. And I at the time, you know, I had an arsenal of
I didn't leave the booth. Nigga said, I didn't want to leave the booth, nigga. Yo, shit.
rhymes. So I was like, yeah, this nigga got it.
Mhm.
And so that's how our relationship started.
And then he brought you to TVT was the label at the time, right?
Brought us to TVT.
Mhm.
Nigga, this nigga, I could tell this nigga ain't do his own shit. I could tell he ain't do his own shit. He probably ain't do his own beats, none of that. Ain't write his own rhymes. Ain't do none of that. You tell. Clown, I've been in, hey, I aired this nigga out so much, man. These niggas on here, man. All in my comments getting mad and shit. Where you niggas at now, man? I made you niggas mad. I made you niggas so mad airing this nigga out.
You know, I was young. I was like 17, 18. I really didn't care how it was gonna play out at the moment. I was just like, let's get this record deal, let's do what we're doing, and you know, try to make this movement reality. You know, before that it was just like, you know, shit we was doing in school, beating on the tables in lunchrooms. You know, I'd be in the hood with the homies, you know, rapping. It wasn't really like a real. It wasn't a dream yet, is what I'm saying. You know, until that moment. You know what I mean? Then it really became real to me. Like, yo, we could get a record deal. We could put out some records. Maybe we could go gold. And that was the goal back then, is to go gold. So yeah, so we signed to TVT. He had Mike Geronimo there first, and then we signed with him. Interesting story about TVT. I tell you a real interesting story about TVT, because TVT could have been the biggest label, or one of the biggest labels, because Irv brought Steve Gottlieb J. He brought him X. Dre brought him the.
Nigga, you want to be like DMX, nigga. That's why y'all had y'all little feud, nigga. Like, nigga, stop. Like, this nigga on here telling lies. Like, nigga, bro, you want to be like DMX, bro.
Chronic.
What?
I swear to God, he had all these projects, and he didn't know. I guess he didn't know how to capitalize on what was happening with the movement of hip hop at the moment, and how it was shifting and changing or whatever. And he just kept saying no to everything that came his way.
And how did it go from there? Because, you know, when Mike Geronimo came out, Shit's Real was the record.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge successful record, but it was
It was enough.
It was enough, especially for Queens.
For sure.
What made y'all say this is not the place and we need to leave? And did you think it was all the way
just that? You didn't sign X, you didn't sign Jay, you didn't sign Dre. This might not be the spot. He may not know what he's doing over here. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but big shout out to Steve Gottlieb. You know, he was, you know, it's crazy when you making a lot of money doing something. It's kind of hard. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Type, you know, deal. So he was making a lot of money with TV Tunes, which was like doing like little, you know, like what do you call them? Like jingles, like Jamie Foxx like shit, you know, from what he's doing on the show. Like he was making a lot of those for like different, you know, shows and commercials and stuff. So he was making a lot of money doing that shit. So when the hip hop shit came his way, he really didn't know how to just jump on it and move. And he was, you know, carrying his feet. He probably could have had it all if he'd have moved on. Yeah.
So you got the Def Jam.
So that, you know, it all just happened so crazy, so fast. You know, like we realized TVT wasn't the situation. And I was on hiatus for a long time after that, for like 3 years, because my man Black was part of the group. He went to jail. So he did 5 years in prison. And so they...
Black Child or just another?
No, my man Chris Black.
Okay, Chris Black. Right.
So that kind of, you know, threw everything off with the group. And so I was basically in hiatus for 3 years. I didn't, you know where I was gonna end up. It was just in limbo.
Thank you.
And so thank you, Lauren. Yeah, that good. No, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
So much love to y'all, man.
Cheers.
Appreciate y'all.
Smells good.
It's amazing.
Yes,
it's so good.
That nigga was doing all that fake ass crying at Earl Gotti funeral on and shit.
It's you know, check it out.
And you were a whiskey drinker.
I'm not a whiskey drinker.
I thought you tried the.
I did. When I saw Fawn get into Uncle Nearest, I tried it. Then Beyonce, of course. That is very, very smooth.
Isn't it? This the best. This is the smoothest whiskey I've ever had.
I'm not dissing. I'm not even gonna say anybody else's whiskey. All I'm gonna say is I've never drank whiskey and not made that face and like, give me something. You gotta chase
very
it.
Smooth.
This is very smooth.
Very smooth.
We'll get into that in a minute, you know,
Wow.
because we wanted to really create this for the whiskey. You know, that for that reaction of a first time, you know, not a first time, but a person who's maybe not a whiskey drinker per se. So we wanted to, you know,
You said Irv brings you to Def Jam, and at
So
the
Irv brings
time,
me
there's
Def
so many artists at Def Jam. Did you feel like that
It was
wasn't
a
your fit?
jungle at Def
Did you feel
Jam.
like it was going to be a fight? Did you feel like they were going to use you the proper way? Because at first I felt like they didn't.
This nigga felt like he ran Murder Inc. Nigga, you ain't run Murder Inc. We already exposed how y'all got Murder Inc. How y'all got y'all name off of Murder Inc. Like, we already exposed that shit.
You know what? When I got to Def Jam, it was
The name Murder Inc. came off of what they say. I forgot what they said, but that's how y'all got your name. That's how y'all got the name Murder Inc. Y'all didn't make the name Murder Inc. Y'all got it from somebody else. Y'all got it off of a show or something they said. Something they said. But yeah, y'all didn't come up with the name Murder Inc.
a dream come true. Def Jam was like Motown for any rapper. If you especially if you was from Queens, Russell Simmons, they from Hollis, Ron,
yeah.
but they were, Run DMC wasn't on Def Jam,
Managed
but
by.
you always felt like they were, you know what I mean? Because of the affiliation. But LL, you could go list on. But if you wasn't on Def Jam, you was managed by Rush Management. So it was like being on Def Jam was everything.
Right.
And so having that deal and having the see what people don't understand is I had, Leo's back. Leo had my back from day one, from when it all started. He wanted to sign me first, but I couldn't get out of my deal with TVT.
Gotcha.
So in the meantime, Gotti was like, I got somebody else that you'll like. And he brought him X.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they didn't understand X at first, so that was that tug of war going on. But then they finally, made the move.
Nigga, you was trying to steal DMX style. You was trying to steal his style. You stole his style. So you stole his style, nigga. Like, what? We exposed that too.
We convinced him to make the move, and X became what he became. And then I, rest in peace to X as well. And then I came right after that. But I always had, I always knew that Leo wanted me as an artist on Def Jam. And so that was great. And I knew he was wanting Irv too, because that's how he kind of sought out to find me in that way. Jam Master Jay, rest in peace. And so, legendarily, there's this meeting going on in Def Jam. And me and Irv we used to do this shit. We used to go Jack the Box. So every time we see Meth and Red's video come on, Meth and Mary's You're All I Need video come on, we'd order our video right after it. So, hope we get the trickle down effect. So, Def Jam, they're having this big meeting up there, and the legend of the story is they're, gloating over there, Meth and Mary, beautiful, amazing work. And then this little grainy black and white video comes on, and it's, me at 17, 18, just rhyming with the big voice. And Jay, Jam Master Jay stood up in the meeting. He said, that little nigga right there is going to be a star.
Wow.
And Leo said, well, find them for me. and that's how that kind of just started, the rest kind of just spiraled into what it was.
How did that feel when you first came? DMX came before you commercialized.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like y'all were like a year apart, right? Like he came and
Well, Jai actually came first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was 97, 98.
I didn't come first. X's music and records and everything came first.
Yeah.
But like I said, my situation with Def Jam
was already in the making.
Yeah, it was already in the making in the next game.
And then everybody compared you to him, right?
Yeah.
And everything that you did was he's trying to be like DMX.
Yeah.
How did that affect you during that time?
He was trying to be like DMX. Go back and look at some of his videos and see how he dressed it on his videos. DMX had that same style. That same style. Go back and look. and look at the video I posted.
You know, of course it's gonna affect you, you know, and I'm young too, you know, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to be like nobody. I'm me, you know, and you know, me and the dog, we definitely, you know, had our bouts over little stupid shit like that. But so what I did, and I took an extreme gamble. You know, my first album was very successful.
Vinny Vedi Vici.
Vinny Vedi Vici, yeah. You know, I sold, you know, close to 2 million records on my debut album. And then those things started happening. He's trying to be like Gags, or he's trying to be like Pac. And, you know, so I said, you know what? I got something.
Yeah, you was trying to be like Pac.
I'm gonna switch it all up.
Nigga, you was trying to be like Pac and DMX. Both of them niggas.
Went out to LA, got me a big ass fucking mansion out in Hollywood Hills. First time I ever had anything like this in my life. And it was like the most ghetto fucking mansion you ever want to see in your life. We had like Rent-A-Center furniture in the joint. It was crazy, you know what I'm saying? We had a room that we called the dorm, and just 10 niggas slept in there, you know what I'm saying? It was a wild time, but I wanted the music to reflect new times in my life. You know, things that I was doing now, things I was seeing now, experiencing now, you know. And so I went completely left, grew my hair out. So they can't say I look like X or Pac. Them niggas never had braids.
Yeah, you on here lying. Yeah, when you said that, they can't say I'm on here trying to look like X or Pac. Nigga, you was trying to look like both of them. Nigga, could be in on here capping, bro. You capping, bro. You was trying to be just like them, bro. And with the scarves and all, man, come on, bro. Like, you was trying to be just like them. With the scarves and all that shit, yo, dress like, oh.
You see what I'm saying? So I grew my hair out, got braids, you know, was wearing it wild, like Jimi Hendrix, you know, bandana, just looking, just being me.
Bandana, nigga, you stole that from DMX and Tupac. You stole that from both of them. Rocking the bandanas and all that shit. You stole that from them niggas.
You know, and the music started to reflect those moments.
So it was all your idea to change the image in the music?
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, Gotti just kind of flowed with whatever I wanted to do, but he always, you know, would circle back to, you got to keep it. You know what I'm saying? Don't go too far this way, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to have your street element. You got to keep it. You know, you got to keep it street. And so, you know, because I'm an artist, a creative first at heart. So, you know, I wanted to do wild, crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, nigga.
You know, it was kind of like
it back a little bit.
It was kind of like reverse Jodeci. And what I mean by that is, remember they always tell a story about how they dressed Jodeci like hip hop, but they did the R&B records.
Yeah.
But you still had the street shit in you, but you.
You see what I'm talking about now? This nigga on here lying about him saying all this shit, like he trying to, like, they can't say he was trying to be like Pac. They can't say he was trying to be like DMX. All that shit is a cap, nigga. All that is a cap. You was trying to be somebody, bro. Somebody, bro. With the bandanas and all that shit. You was trying to be like both of them. So stop on being on here lying like you really wasn't trying to be like them. Already didn't put the video out there, bro. You try to be just like them. All this shit you saying about this and that shit cap.
You was still doing the R&B records, but you was still rapping hard on the R&B record.
You know what's crazy? I listen to like records like Always on Time, like the dirty versions and shit, and I'm like, funny story. We was just in Africa. I was over there building my new school, and so they're playing like the dirty versions of these records. The kids out there, and I'm like, God damn, my wife is like, yo, they tell them they got to change it, cleans, whatever. The hooks ain't saving what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I used to say what I wanted and do what I wanted on the verses, but then them hooks were so pretty that it kind of just cleaned it all up.
Did they give you pushback because of that? Because Gotti is so good, right? Gotti will rap all the time, like everything is street with Gotti. But then you went left a little bit and started catering to women and making those type of songs. Was there any pushback at all?
Not from Gotti, because Gotti, Gotti's all about what's hot. Gotti was like, the music's hot, it's just sounding right, it's just hot. It's just the one time I think Gotti got a little bit nervous. It was Put It On Me. Everybody knew it was a big record,
right?
But everybody was like, "This is like different. Like this is like." But I didn't feel it was. I felt like I was already stepping in that arena. I was already doing, the records that had that feel, and maybe I was taking it a little step further or whatever. But I felt like I was already in that lane, so it didn't matter. But lo and behold, we put it out and it became the record it was. But, me and Gotti were very fearless in that we understood that this was going to be a make or break situation. Mm-hmm. A lot of artists go through what they call the sophomore jinx. And here I am taking the biggest gamble you could take with a sophomore album.
It was like a new debut though, in a lot of ways.
That's what it felt. Mm-hmm. And that's how I felt. I felt like this is like new Ja Rule. This is like something.
Why he ain't on here speaking on 50? I want to see if he on here. I want to see what he talking about. Hey, I want to see what he gonna say about 50. He know 50. He know 50. If 50 see this, he gonna start trolling his ass. That's why he ain't brought nothing up about 50.
I mean, I ain't feel before. This is completely. It's me, but it's like me and with a different, look to it, feel to it, and they didn't really like that. Def Jam didn't love it. They didn't love the album. They didn't love, where I was going visually with it. They didn't love it.
Really?
After doing 2 million records, they
want
like,
you to do what's
if it ain't
working.
broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
but
like,
then you sold 4 or 5.
I know, but you can't call that,
beforehand,
right? And like I said, we was going through a time where a lot of artists was going through sophomore jinx. You put out that sophomore album and didn't do, as good as the first album. So I was taking a big risk in doing it. They wanted me to go change the album. Gotti came and he's like, "Yo, Rule, this is what they say," and I told them go fuck theyself, but it's ultimately your decision, what you want to do. And I'm like, I'm not changing shit. I'm like, we just gonna have to, fight for what we believe in. And we did, and it turned out to be a great decision on that side.
I was going to ask you, in those moments, like, what were the conversations with you and Gotti? Because I've never met him before, but his energy seems so short all the time. But that's a lot of pressure when you know what I mean? Like, y'all are in it. Like, this is the big moment, and you got to say, go fuck yourself. But at the same time, it's like,
Well, Gotti had a different way of speaking and handling, things.
Mm-hmm. I've heard.
I'm a little more diplomatic.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Sometimes in life, you need both sides. You need Malcolm and you need Martin. You know what I'm saying? So you need somebody to be like, all right, we're gonna talk to Martin right now. We don't want to talk to Malcolm at the moment. So it works.
I think a lot of Irv's, I call it passion, but I think a lot of the rah-rah came from the frustration of being a visionary and knowing you're right and knowing that these motherfuckers do not see the vision, but you can see it so clear. I can see what Jai is so clear. I can see what X is so clear. I can see what Hov is so clear. How don't y'all see it? That would be frustrating too, especially when you see how everything played out.
Very, very frustrating. But that's the struggle, that's the push and pull between creatives and the
suits.
It's always going to be the fight, but now that I'm on both sides of it, I get it. I fight myself because I want to just be creative, but then I'm like, it costs too much.
Nigga, you ain't want to fight 50, nigga. You ran when you seen 50. You ran the back of that stage when you seen 50 though. You try to take your shirt up like you were finna do something, nigga. You wasn't finna do nothing. All you niggas was scared. All you murder eating niggas was scared.
fucking much to just be creative sometimes.
You think that Irv, before we passed
He was there.
I know you guys had a lot of conversations.
He was there. You ain't even know. He ain't even know. Once you found out he was there, trolling your ass, nigga, you wanted to get on that because you was mad.
Does he think he got the credit he deserved? Because when he passed, you heard every last little thing that he's done, every record that he's produced, all the behind the scenes stuff, from the making the belly to everything.
It's so crazy. It's as much as Irv was loud and outspoken. He wasn't about those things. Like he would know, I produced this and I produced it. He did a lot of outside records outside of Murder Inc. that he never really, got in interviews and spoke about or anything. He just kind of just talked about what he did with me, X and Jay, because we were his favorites. But he did do a lot, with a lot of other artists and big records and records that should be definitely contributed to his legacy.
I'm sitting here with you and I'm thinking to myself, how do you even talk to Ja about Irv? Because you and Irv clearly loved each other out loud, and people ask questions like, how did his passing make you feel? It's like, I don't even know if those are appropriate questions.
Yeah. Like I said, I go in and out. Like, I'm very understanding of what life and death is. We're all born to die. At some point that's gonna happen. One of those things he always used to say is, that is our destiny. But in the middle of,
hey nigga, go get your chain back. You still haven't got your chain back when they snatched your shit. Why you ain't trying to get your chain back? It's 2025. You still ain't trying to find the nigga that took your. You still ain't trying to get on that with 50 or the nigga that snatched your chain. 50 snatched the chain, but why you ain't trying to get on that? Why you ain't trying to get on that? You should go get your chain. Why you ain't trying to go get your chain back? Why you ain't go approach these niggas? Why you ain't go to approach 50 for taking your chain, for snatching your chain? We ain't heard nothing about that yet. You still haven't go approach 50. You still haven't tried to go crash out on 50 or none of that. Go get your chain back. Why you haven't went to go get your chain back? Why you ain't pushed the issue to try to go get your chain back?
Of that we live. Mm-hmm. JR, rest in peace to JR as well. JR and Lauren. And he always used to say, live the dash. Because that's what they put on your tombstone from 19 whatever or whatever to, dash, whatever. So he always used to say, live the dash. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. So I know that my brother he lived the dash. You know what I'm saying? He lived his life. And so I can be happy in knowing that, but I'm still hurt, by the way it all, just kind of happened so fast.
Do you regret it at all? You regret not talking to your brother and being hard on your brother? Like I was listening to Chris, Irv's brother, doing the conversation, and he was like, it was the lifestyle. And I tried to talk to him, but he was like, just Irv didn't listen. Do you wish you would have been more like, yo, bro, you got to do this. You got to go to the doctor. Bro, you got to do this.
About Irv. Yeah, you can't, you're not telling Irv that. Y'all know Irv. When Irv got his money, he wants something, he's going to be, I got the record. He ain't going to stop. And he's the same way with how he wanted to live his life. You like, well, I think last time we was here, oh, no, I'm sorry. It was maybe Drink Champs.
Drink Champs. Yeah.
And he talking about, he's like, like, oh, you take care? So he's like, not all the time. You know what I'm saying? But that's Irv. I used to, one of my last text to him was, yo, how you doing? You taking care of yourself? How's your health? You know what I mean? How you feeling? You know what I mean? Like, we ain't spoken, a couple of weeks or whatever. Yeah, I'm good. So, that's Irv, and I'm happy to know that he lived his life the way he did. Frank Sinatra, I did it my own. So I'm happy in knowing that, But I am a little disappointed because I feel he could still be it.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean when you say it happened so fast?
Like I so of course I'm behind the scenes internally, I'm dealing with this in private. You know, it's not a public knowledge. And so, you know, I felt he was getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was one, you know, something happened. I think he had like a mini stroke, and he went back to see the doctor, and then it just kind of, his health just started kind of deteriorating. And it just kind of happened fast. I was, you know, and I'm like, God damn. But again, it puts things in perspective, puts life in perspective.
Absolutely.
It puts health in perspective. It puts money in perspective. Like, you know, we all out here chasing the, you know, the money, to this, to that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it ain't, I know it sounds like cliche shit or whatever, but money ain't nothing if your health ain't good. You can't enjoy it. You
That's
can't,
right.
you know, what's the money, you know, gonna do? You know, your family can enjoy it, you know, that's fine. You die, you know, I guess, you know, you get along knowing that, you know what I'm saying? But you can't enjoy it, you know, if you're not in good health. So
if you don't mind me asking, if it's too personal, you can say you don't want to answer it. Have you had those moments now after everything where like you wake up and, you know, maybe it's like a dream happens and you're like, okay, like I hear you, or like I feel you, or like, you know, something like that, where it's like a comforting feeling?
Nah, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and be saying are you having like out of body experiences and shit. You know, I just, like I said, I'm seen a lot of death in my life, and so I've always dealt with it very well. This is the first one that somebody has died that's this close to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that we've built so much, we've done so much together, and so it's a little different. But yeah, it's tough. But yeah, I can't say that I've, you know, experienced those type of joys, I would call them. Yeah.
I would have loved to see the gang back together. Maybe they were just, you know, the whole Murder Inc. family back, and because you guys grinded from the bottom. Like you made
Yeah,
believers out of
definitely.
people that weren't. You know what I mean? Whether it was yourself, R&B. I mean,
Yeah,
Irv did Ashanti and Lloyd.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I
for
would just wish
sure.
the gang would have got. Was there any chance of that?
I think that ship said.
Nigga, but hey, Ashanti got this nigga all his shit. Ashanti got all his shit, all everything. He was working off her shit. Go back and look at my video about that too. This nigga was broke at one time, and she got him on his shit. She got him on his shit. She got him on his shit. This nigga was broke at one point in time. She got him. That's why where he at now. That is why he where he at now, because of her. This nigga was not, bro. This nigga was Ashanti got him where he at now. To where he at now. So why you ain't talking about that? Why you ain't say Ashanti got me where I'm at now? Cause you know, bro. You know. You know. You know.
I think that ship sailed. But not. You know what's so crazy? Me and Gotti used to always talk about this, and you know, it's the old Motown story of Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy. You know, Berry Gordy wasn't going to come to the 25-year anniversary because he felt like, you know, Mike and Diana and all they was traders. They left him, and you know, when the things was, I guess he felt the highest, and you know, they just went with the money and you know left the situation or whatever. And you know, Smokey sat him down. He said, "It's not about who leaves, it's about who comes back." And I felt that, and I'd always say that to Irv. I said, things happen, people grow apart. I said, it's not about who leaves. I said, at the end of the day, it's about who comes back. I said, because that shows the respect and the love was always there. And I think that's important. You know?
I think the problem is, though, people wait to come back at the funeral.
Yeah.
So you say the ship has sailed.
Yeah.
And then we've seen, Ashanti speak on it and, seen her post about it. So clearly there was still love there.
It's always been there. Yeah. It's always been there. I've tried to clean it up many times. But I got to a point where I was
you tired of being in the middle.
So I'm like, just let it be. It is what it is. As long as everybody's called you, I'm fine with it.
I think publicly we knew that you were kind of like in the middle trying to figure everything out. Yeah. And then when everything happened and like she posted and she talked to
Ashanti, the one put this nigga on with all his shit. Ashanti one did all this nigga work for him. Did all this nigga work. All of it. Go back and look, like I said, go back and look at that video that I posted. Go back and look at that video.
Angie Martinez about, how she was feeling. I know that you guys probably had conversations after and like, what, because now it's different because he's not here anymore. What was that like for you? Because you're kind of still in the middle, but he's not here anymore. And like, what is...
I mean, we, it's crazy because we had conversations prior.
Right.
About, them patching things up. And I've had conversations with Gotti about them patching it up. And it's always been on the table, but just never happened.
Because she said she threw the olive branch prior too.
She has. And there's been moments when Irv has just been stuck in his ways and just...
He's a Cancer, like me.
Yeah. So it's been hard to patch that up. But I know, that he did love her, that I did know, that I do know. And so that's why I always try to patch it up because I know both sides of the story. I know both of them, and I know that they shared something, and that's whatever. But it's just one of those things. But I feel that now that in passing, I feel like everybody will come back, and we can do some things together as a unit, as a group, whatever. Me, Lloyd, Shanti, and the rest of the crew, they've always been on board. So,
how would Irv felt seeing Hov at the funeral?
I spoke about that at the funeral, and I spoke to that, and I told Hov, I said he would be happy to see. I know that for a fact, so I let him know that from me to him.
That's dope. All right, well, now let's move on.
Let's talk about the school in Ghana, man.
I was going to talk about his daughter getting married. Which way you want to go?
We just talking. It's a lot.
This shit is scary.
I told you.
I'm going to be honest with you, this whiskey's scary.
Come on, man.
Now I'm going to tell you why it's scary, because it's really, really good. And it's very smooth.
And you feel a little something.
And the first sip.
It's warm.
We have got a what do you call it?
A banger.
Endorsement from Charlamagne the God.
Very smooth. Very.
Thank you.
Now your daughter's getting married.
Yes.
Now, did the young man come to you and ask you, and how was that conversation?
Yo, he did. He's a really great dude, man. My dude Tevin, man, he's a good guy. He's Jamaican. So they have good respect.
He laughed when you say he's Jamaican.
He's a good dude. He's Jamaican.
No. Why you say that?
I said that. I was getting to the point.
Oh, go ahead.
Because they have a culture, in a way, and that us African Americans don't. You know what I'm saying? And so it's it was very respectful. He did it the traditional way. It was cool. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm Mary, please take her now.
You pay for the wedding?
Of course.
Okay.
I said that's the part of the tradition that needs to change.
That definitely needs to change.
Word.
I got 4 girls. Charlotte got 4 girls. Yes.
Because your son is graduating from college at that same month, right?
Yep. He is. My youngest son, Jordan, he's graduating from SCAD.
And you're going to need a nice gift, and then you got to pay for the wedding.
Yep. So they tap in my pockets for the month. Yeah.
That's the beauty of life, though, right?
That's
like
right.
When you think about Ja 20 years ago, did you realize, like, I'm going to be a father? Like this is the difference.
Well, yeah, I was a father 20 years ago. So yeah.
But I mean, like, did you see
but
this
like grandfather and kids and graduate?
Yeah. When I was locked up, right, this old head, OG, he used to always say, only thing worse than getting old is not
getting old. Word up.
He used to say that to me all the time. And now that I'm getting old, I finally appreciate that statement. You know what I mean? Because I was a dumb young knucklehead. I used to think I wasn't gonna live to be 25 and all this other goofy shit. But lo and behold, here I am. 49, looking at my kids. Graduating from college and and getting married and shit. So it's a blessing.
When you see how many people who have not, survived in hip hop, does it give you more of an appreciation of life?
Of course. It's a dirty game, man. It feels like only hip hop goes through that. Seeing so many young brothers die at such a young age, it's kind of crazy. Knowing that's how I thought when I was young in hip hop. So it's kind of weird to just kind of seeing it all unfold, and that's how these young brothers, also think. And it's like, we got to break that cycle too.
So how do you tell folks it gets greater later, or do you just show them?
I think they're starting to see it.
Okay.
They have great examples out there. You see Hov and B and married kids doing well in life. There's other great examples like LL and his wife, and Math and his wife, and me and my wife. And, you can mention a lot. So you see the growth in hip hop. You're starting to see a lot of artists that you may not even know was married for a very, very long time. Cube and his wife. So there's a lot of us out there that just kind of really embody what love and hip hop is about.
I feel like after COVID too, I feel like the hip hop world
and his wife.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
I feel like the world had a different respect for 90s and 2000 music. Did you feel that as well? Like there was a shift where
I seen a bump in my royalty segment.
but why do you think that is? Because I seen a time where tours were scattered, but now I see like a much more love and respect for that era of artists.
It's hard to put your finger on it because I feel like every era had great artists. I just feel like our era was the biggest in sales, and so that takes on a different animal when people get to buy your CD and put your poster on their wall, and it's a different connection. And I think we kind of just our era, we benefited the most from that in hip hop. I feel these new artists, they got the streaming era and they're making a lot of money and be independent and go do shows and all that other stuff. But I think the longevity aspect of it and how people kind of fell in love with us as artists, I think that aspect of it is kind of like it's kind of come and gone, But if you catch them, then you got them, because now you have them as followers on your gram, and that people just don't really unfollow you once they follow you. They're kind of like there, you know what I'm saying? So that's they have a plus there.
And we need age appropriate tours. Like, when you 45 plus, you want to go somewhere and still vibe to what you came up on in a safe environment. Like who says that we don't still want to go out to concerts and stuff?
Hey, we're the Party At tour this summer. Come on and see us, man. We putting it down the right way this summer.
But I've seen you in concert, and it's a lot of young people there. Like a lot. Like it's not. You would go there and be like, "What is happening?"
But that's their old school. And it feels crazy for us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is because when I'm thinking about that, I'm like, if I saw you at a Ja Rule concert, I'd be like, why is Charlamagne here?
At a Ja Rule concert?
Because for us, it's like we go because it's nostalgic and it's fun and it's like whatever. But it's your era.
Like when you wearing Jordans and one of the youngins be like, what you doing wearing Jordans? It's our era.
I get it. I get it. I get it. But it feel like it's like y'all are ours now. Like back up. Oh, hey.
Not for nothing. That's my daughter's
so
23.
Young.
Feels the same way.
It's
like
so
when she
young
listens to that music, she feels like that's her music. Like she loves that music, but she doesn't look at age. She's just like, that's my song. I hear it on the radio.
Because it feels good.
Like that's how it feels.
You put on y'all songs and it's like a good summertime day. Like if you feel it, it's different. But for sure, when I went, I think I was in LA when I seen you. It was people younger than me. I was like, oh, wow.
I got a good generational push because that's what their mothers were listening to and stuff like that. I asked them sometimes, they be 25, 20. I'm like, what you know about the job? You know what I'm saying? I'll ask them and they be like, my mama used to, or my big sister. I was like, okay, I got
I do you one better. My daughter done ran into you so many times, Ja. I had no idea that Ja sang those songs.
I was going to say, do they be knowing?
Like the song come on and she be singing. I'd be like, you know who that is, right? She's like, no. I'm like, forget it. But she had no idea.
I seen your daughter the other day.
She said hello to you and she, whatever. She seen you at the mall. And she had no idea you sang those songs. She was like, really? I'm like, yeah, but she's 23 years old. She had no clue.
But I think now with like the bridging of the gap with like social media, it's
absolutely.
like you kind of, because a lot of times too, like I know my niece, she will play certain songs and I'd be like, well, how did you even know that song? It's TikTok. And she'll literally say, oh, it's TikTok. And she might not know who you are, but she can sing the song word for word.
Ja Rule created a whole genre of music.
I feel the same way. I don't know some of the new kids, but I can sing the songs. Yeah. I know the songs. So
Ja Rule was Drake before Drake.
Who you yelling at? Oh,
the singer. I'm sorry. It's the whiskey.
Yo, take that whiskey away from me, man.
Yo, I know you feel it because I'm getting hot. I know you feel it because I'm getting hot, but don't be yelling at me.
Oh, my bad.
No, the whole singing, rapping hybrid.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was Ja, literally. I
definitely own that space for a minute. I'm not the first artist to sing and rap, obviously, but I like to think that I was or like to say or own the fact that I was the first artist to really create duets, hip hop duets. Like, you don't know if I'm Real is my record or J-Lo's record, or you don't know if Mesmerize is my record or Shanti's record, because the way I wrote them, I'm so infused in the record. I'm on the hook with them. She got a verse, I got a verse. It's
bro, you thought you would, bro. You really thought you was popular, bro. You really thought you was popular. You thought you was running Murder Inc. You thought you was, bro. You just thought everything, yo. Like, you ain't do nothing, bro. Like, you haven't did nothing. Nothing at all.
Sounds like, what Tammy and Marvin would do back in the day as an R&B record, So that dynamic really didn't exist in hip hop until I started doing it, because I had the liberty of writing those records. And so at the time I didn't know it.
Now I gotta go back to getting on you now. I gotta go back. Cause you don't hear line like you was running Murder Inc. and everything. You got the name. You got the name yourself, which we all know. We heard the video when they said y'all got it off a TV show or something. Y'all know.
What I was doing, I just kind of wanted to be on the record and be on it as much as possible. I'm like, shit, I'm writing a record for Jennifer Lopez. I need to be on the record, like really on the record, So I'm on the hook. I'm on the verse. I'm in.
You ain't write none of your songs. You ain't write none of your songs, bro. You wrote, nigga, Ashanti put you on everything. Ashanti the one put you on. So how you write somebody else shit? How? Ashanti, that's why you at the where you at now. Because Ashanti put you on game with this shit. No matter what nobody say. Y'all can make y'all little comments, get mad all y'all want to. But I know Ashanti put this nigga on. And half of y'all seen my video already that I posted.
In the first verse, then she comes in, and I got my own second verse, and she comes back on the third. I wrote it that way so it can be a back and forth kind of thing. And I think I started that.
I saw you said
she started that. You didn't start nothing. She put you on. You ain't start nothing. She helped you out with everything. So why you ain't saying that? Why you ain't saying Ashanti put me on? Ashanti put me on everything. Put me on rapping. Put me on. She put you on all that shit. So stop being on here capping like you really did that and you didn't. She the one put you on game. You didn't put yourself on game. She did that. She did that.
You wish the internet was around during the time of like you and 50's back and forth. Yeah. But listening to you tell that story, I'm like, don't you like
here right here.
Aren't you happy that it wasn't? Because getting to enjoy that without social
See, this what I want to hear, what this nigga got to say.
Media, without feeling like you had to post it and tag it and talk about it.
Because you sometimes you gotta show certain elements of certain things. Social media was good for that. Social media is good to show certain things. That's all I'll just say.
Got you.
Without getting too into it involved.
What similarities did you see in the situation between Kendrick and Drake and you and 50? And I'm just talking about as far as how, the public turned on
consumers.
Yeah, that's the fans. Yeah. Man, fans are fickle. I knew that. That's what made me kind of transition how I look at how I make my money. It was kind of like, okay, I can't put all my eggs in this basket. I kind of diversify in a lot of different ways, because if these niggas flip on me for whatever reason, I ain't like the way I fucking wore my hat, the other day or whatever. And it's that, music is a crazy.
You see how soft this nigga, bro? This nigga is very soft, bro. This nigga is soft. This nigga is soft, bro. Bro, y'all, hey, I know it's gonna be a lot of comments after this. I know it is. But I don't even care. I don't care. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. But I know. Like y'all were making y'all comments when I was doing my videos on him, when I first started doing my videos on this shit.
Crazy thing, but I do see certain things that are similar, and just the way, public perception, how people can kind of, turn their back on you.
See, I'm gonna do a breakdown on all this shit, on all this Ja Rule shit. Not today, but it might be, I don't know, because I got to do some other shit on my other channel. I don't know. I might just talk about all this shit, what happened with the Murder Inc., him and 50, all this.
Because you're winning so much. I think that's what, people really, I think that's the issue people really have with it. You're just fucking too hot, man. You know what I'm saying? The boy don't lose. And people wanted to see him get a little bit of dent in his armor. That's all.
Did you ever want to reach out to him?
What? Man, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, the crazy thing is, and the crazy thing people don't understand with my beef, and I'm looking at the same thing with Drake's beef. I'm like, he's rich. He's chilling. Same thing with me. I'm like, I'm rich.
You feel like that now, though, but in the moment, you probably was pissed off. Like, yo.
I was, but the end of the day, see, the crazy thing is, things can look so much bigger and deeper in our small bubble.
Right.
But I go places and I didn't feel that energy. Mm-hmm. For a minute, the energy was there. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And, we was fighting motherfuckers, and, it was what it was. But after a time, it just...
Nigga, all you Murder Inc. niggas was soft, nigga. You niggas couldn't fuck with 50. Already exposed that too, when he took your chain. All that shit. I exposed all that already. All that.
It's not that. And the energy's gone, and people was like, yo, Rule, I love his music. I fucks with Rule. I'm going to his shows. So it wasn't, it was never that, where it was like, okay, I'm suffering in my financial state. So, yes, I had to suck up some things that I was feeling from a fan's point of view. But at the end of the day, I can hang my hat on what I came to do. I accomplished. My family's good. I'm good. My money's right. Fuck it. I got some haters. Mm-hmm. If you don't have haters, then you ain't doing something right. You know what I'm saying? And you move on with it. So,
no, you niggas was hating on 50. You niggas was hating on him. You the main one. already exposed all this shit. All this shit. From you, the game, all you niggas. Why you niggas didn't like 50 Cent? Cause he had more clout than all you niggas. He had more. Before he even started rapping, nigga, I broke all that shit down. Everything.
I always looked at it like, people, the fans and the people around it is like, oh, Drake's Drake will be fine. I'm still here 25 years later doing what I do, getting 6 figures a show. It's like I don't want people to ever think that a rap beef is that important to the grand scheme of things. Like, people are not, Drake's investors and people that do business with him, anymore because that's not happening. So there's a lot of aspects to it that people don't understand.
Did you ever stop to think to yourself, all those years ago, you put out the Clapback record, right?
Yeah.
And when you put it out, everybody was like, what is Ja doing?
Yeah.
But now, 25 years later, not only is the record dope, everybody uses the term Clapback.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
You probably be in the shade room comments like, this mine.
You should have trademarked Clapback. I might can still her.
Let's go.
Let's go. Like, no.
Jasmine Crockett might have had that. Jasmine Crockett might have trademarked Clapback.
Sheesh. But yeah, I laugh at stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I even laugh at moments of certain records that came out that didn't really translate as well as they should have, I felt.
And you might be the one. You might be one of the trollers that was in my comments. You might have been one of them niggas. Yeah, you was one of them. I bet you. You watch my channel, because I've been on your ass, nigga. I exposed all that shit with you in 50.
At the time. But I play them now at shows and people sing them word for word. So I'm like
which
so
one?
I was listening.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was paying attention to these records while, like Wonderful.
Oh, Wonderful Fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was my first #1 record in the UK. Wow. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was dope, but it was popping over there. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, it wasn't kicking it the way it should have, I felt, over here. But so certain things like that I feel now. And then Clapback is another one. When I do it, it's like, oh, now everybody knows the words to Clapback. Okay, I get it. I got it. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But music is subjective, man.
Mm-hmm.
People like artists, they don't like artists. You don't gotta like Ja Rule. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? People that vibe with me, fuck with me, come fuck with me. That's what it is. People who don't, it's cool. I don't know you anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it really doesn't bother me at all.
It's also interesting to me that you R50 have not outgrown each other. And what I mean by that is, if you're talking to 50, Ja gonna come up. If you're talking to Ja, 50 gonna come up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't bring him up per se at all.
No, we do.
Yeah.
I know why you don't bring him up. Because he gonna get on your ass. That's why you don't bring him up. You scared to mention his name. You scared to mention 50 name because you know he gonna get on your ass, nigga. That's why you don't want to mention him.
Yeah. The media does.
Yeah.
But because I think that's because he's, a troll and he keeps it going.
You be throwing jabs and throwing them back, but you be.
I'll go to the circus once in a while, you know what I mean? But I really like to stay clear of that shit.
Yeah, because when the residency stuff happened, I was like, oh Lord.
I like to have fun sometimes and poke jabs at them too, but that's all it really is. It's like and to me it's like it's silly. We're both successful black men.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the focus should be on, continuing to make sure that we pay it forward, push forward, make sure the culture keeps going forward. I think that's more important. I see some of the things that he gets involved in, this feuds on something. Like, grow up, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I be thinking to myself. And so when I see the things that he does, and
see, it's a lot of niggas, a lot of you niggas hating on 50 for what he do, hating on 50. That's why he didn't like I broke this down. Then nobody like him in the past. Cause what he was doing, then nobody, and he's still doing this shit to this day, and nobody like him. Cause he ran all you niggas. I said that in one of my videos. He ran all you niggas. He ran all you niggas. And you niggas didn't like that, bro. The game, he ran him. We already exposed that. All them niggas, you see how all them niggas distance themselves from 50. Distance themselves from 50 because they couldn't tell 50 nothing. They couldn't tell 50 shit. That's why niggas distance themselves from 50. Now y'all see why these niggas hate on 50 Cent. I've been told y'all this. Been exposed all this shit.
He did the herb smoking on there. I'm like,
how did you feel about that when you saw it?
Of course, nobody likes all this goofy shit, but it's goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm not, Preem said it best. I spoke to Preem the other day. He's, Preem has always got the right words and shit and the right thing to say. Because I was hot. You know what I'm saying? I was hot. I was ready to go nuclear and shit. But I say, so I spoke to Preem anyway. And Preem said, he said, Rule, he said, here's what you gotta understand about who we are and what we are. He said, we are masters of self-defense. And I said, I love it. I said, because I don't want to start trouble, make trouble with people. But if we gotta get into it, make it, I'll fucking end it. I'll put it to where it go. I'll take it to the next. So that's why I'm like, you know what? That is the best description of what I am and who I am as a man that I could ever think about. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who we are as men. Mm-hmm. We're here to protect our family, protect our home, defend our honor, our names, our reputation. That's what we're here. I'm not here to be a bully and bother people. That's not what I'm here to do. You know what I'm saying? But I am a master of self.
But in a way, you do have to understand why Fifth feels the way he feels, though, right? When you think about everything that y'all been through.
I really don't.
Really?
Yeah.
The fighting, the shooting, the stabbing.
What shooting? We ain't got nothing to do with that.
Nigga, why you ain't talking about y'all stabbed his DJ? Why you ain't talk about you felt some type of way about 50, you had to stab his DJ? Why you ain't talking about that? All this shit, bro. You stabbed, you got his nigga. Y'all niggas got 50 Cent DJ stabbed up. Why you ain't talking about that? Why you ain't no one talking about that? Why y'all niggas feel some type of way that y'all had to stab 50 Cent DJ multiple times? All you Murder Inc. niggas. I don't know who did. Like, you niggas found out 50 Cent DJ was y'all DJ, and y'all felt some type of way, and y'all stabbed him because y'all feel some type of way about 50 Cent. Why you ain't know who talking about that? See, all this, I broke all this down. I posted all them videos about this shit. Why you ain't no one talking about that?
Oh, well, never mind.
I know
like
people
that.
like to say it.
Yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I know the reality of it all. You know what I'm saying? And that shit ain't got nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's good for, people to play that when they want to play that and then play victim when they want to play victim. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I leave it all alone. I live a really, really cool life. I'm in a good space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, sometimes you just got to remove yourself from the circle. And that's what I've chosen to do. And so that's why I've been being real quiet, cool. enjoying my time. You know, it's funny because, you know, like, you know, I'll get DMs and shit from
nigga. You mentioned 50 Cent on TMZ a couple of years ago. You mentioned 50 Cent, nigga. So stop on here, cat. I would think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. You was on there mentioning 50 Cent. When they had the little money, when they be asking you questions and shit, you was on there mentioning 50 Cent name. So stop being on here capping, bro. Like, that's what I'm talking about. All this shit been exposed already. I'm the one before. I'm the one that exposed all this shit.
You know, other enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what they say, a friend of my
a friend of
the enemy of my
enemy of my
friend.
friend.
Yeah,
my
so
friend.
I got a lot of those. You know what I'm saying?
No, enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, the enemy of my
You'll
enemy
be
is my
responding to
friend.
that because you probably don't get down with that, right? Like,
No, but it'd be like people y'all know very well.
Who?
They hit me in the DMs and be like, yeah, you see this fucking nigga.
Hold on, so y'all,
That's just,
you know, it's so crazy because we say that all the time. When Ja Rule was going through his situation, Ja got jumped. That's why I don't really like to compare the Drake
this is true.
Kendrick thing. Like, you got jumped. So all of those relationships you never made amends with? I thought,
yeah, me and Game is cool. You know,
it was Buster for a moment.
Cool.
Yeah.
See, him and Game. Y'all had that shit against him because why? Because y'all couldn't tell him shit. Y'all can tell him nothing. He ran all you niggas. He ran in any of you niggas' careers. They even said that in the video I posted. He ended all you niggas' careers, and you niggas didn't like that. Y'all took it the other way. Y'all took it another way. Y'all took it another way to where y'all didn't want to fuck, bro. Y'all ain't like him. The game even left him. For what, nigga? The game left him because he felt like 50 was running him. 50 was running him, and he felt some type of way about that. He felt some type of way about 50 running these niggas, running that nigga. He felt some type of way. Why you think him and G Unit ain't together no more? Why you think him and G Unit ain't together no more? He on here now, trolling Young Buck. All them niggas, he trolled Tony Yayo. Why y'all think the whole G Unit crew broke up? Because he ran all them niggas. He can tell them what to do, but they couldn't tell him what to do. Type shit. Like that type shit. And them niggas took that and felt some type of way.
Eminem for a moment.
Me and Axis cross, we cool. You know, but the rest, nah. They all on that side of
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't pump with them niggas like that.
Even all these years later, you just
you know, it's like, you know, Charlamagne, it's like anything else, like the Cold War, man. Like we can exist without having to coexist.
Right.
That's cool.
Now, I gotta ask, you know, what was your mind frame and what were your thoughts when they said that they were bringing the Fire Festival back?
No, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Envy.
What was the?
I'm glad
you was like, no!
I'm glad you brought that up. Remember when I was here around that time, and my good brother Envy was like, Ja, how could you have a partner that's doing some shit?
what's in this whiskey? What is in this whiskey? Yo!
Do you really want to spend the rest of your life watching ads? Guys, just download Fi. It's a free Google Chrome extension and it basically blocks ads.
Now he just Charlamagne. Charlamagne, that's a clock it. That's how you clock that. See, you better clock it. Clock it. Okay, clock that. Okay, you did that.
But I understand.
If
Now you understand. Okay. My brother. Now you
that was so
understand.
smooth. We gotta cheers to mutual understanding because that was so smooth.
Waiting for that one, yo.
I don't even. You should have let me ask that.
Wait till I see this nigga here, boy. I said, I know. I said, boy.
Yo, I just spoke to John so many times. John was way holding that way.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get him on there, Jack. Yeah. I said, because, yo, it's possible. Right, Emily?
Right.
No.
Oh, man. Oh.
Niggas be doing fuck shit behind your back, man. I swear to God.
But you're more cognizant of that now. Who you attach your brand to, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's crazy? And Emily, you can probably attest to this. Like,
yes, he can.
Attest.
The beauty of, you don't want to go through nothing like, those types of situations. But the beauty of it is, now when I vet a situation, people don't get mad at them. Like when I'm like real anal about, like, no, I don't know. Let me just check a little bit more, see what this is about.
Absolutely.
They do not. Like, it's no sweat. They're like, I get it, Ja. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that, I guess, is a plus for things where people are very, forgiving when it comes to how hard I'm betting the next situation that I'm
You have
into.
to.
I'm finna end this video, man. I just had to get my point across on this shit, yo. That's it. That's all. I already exposed all this shit on this nigga. Everything on this nigga. Everything on gang. 50 Cent was running these niggas and they feel some type of way.